All right, not the best of weeks for Clemson baseball, but a really good week for Clemson football. Looking ahead to 2024, we got Jason Priester here, allclemsontigers.com. Get there for the best in Clemson sports coverage. And full focus from Jason now on football. Jason, what's going on today?
Yeah, not a whole lot today. It's been a rather slow news day, but it is definitely full focus for me on football right now. And I kind of started over the weekend. I made that transition actually during the baseball game Sunday.
Folks, if you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button. We also have an Amazon link. It's in the description section of all the videos. Grab the Amazon link, put it somewhere where you will use it. It's the same exact shopping experience. It doesn't cost you one penny, so please use that to help support the channel. Right, Jason, we might as well just run these guys down 1, 2, 3. And they're all extremely highly ranked. Sammy Brown's been a guy that you've talked about quite some time, number 2 linebacker in the country, and a Clemson Tiger.
Yeah, this is a kid, that Clemson's been on for a long time. He's been camping at Clemson. I think it was since he was in the 8th grade, if I'm remembering that right. So he's been around. The two sides are very familiar with each other. And being from right there, Jefferson High School in Georgia, he's been on Georgia's radar for a long time too. Come down to, this has been a Clemson-Georgia battle for quite some time. He's been to both schools numerous times, probably in the double digits for each one, visits-wise. And every time you talk to him, he's always, it always comes back to culture with him. It was going to be the school that had the culture that he thought fit him best. And I think Clemson's culture fits him to a T. We're talking about a humble kid. He told me one time what Clemson has, from a culture standpoint, the family-like feel and that kind of thing. It almost reminds him of what he has at his high school. And I think that's a lot of that stuff resonated with him. And I think there's a lot of things he liked about Georgia. And coming out of this weekend when all this talk started about him shutting things down and he already knew it, I was a little surprised. I thought he was going to follow through, take the rest of his visits, make a decision next month. Started digging through some old quotes I got from him, from previous conversations. And I think it was the very first time I talked to him. He told me I should have listened. He told me, he said, there might be a weekend, you never know, that it just hits me and I know. And I commit on the spot. Turns out, man, that's exactly what transpired. He once he had been there a couple of days at Clemson this weekend, he knew that's where he wanted to be. And the fact that it's possible that Barrett Carter and Jeremiah Trotter are both gone after this season, that only helps Clemson, man. There's an easy path to the playing field there for him. And we're talking about a 230-pound kid, state champion wrestler, multi-sport. He's just a winner, man. And he is going to be transcendent for this Clemson football program.
What makes Sammy Brown so good?
Sideline to sideline, man. He's just so fast. He's got great field vision. His eyes are always in the right spot but for me, the thing that sticks out is the sideline to sideline speed. I mean, it is just he's very impressive when you cut on the field.
Got Jason Priester here from allclemsontigers.com. Check out his work right there. Please hit the like button if you enjoy the content. All right. Next up, we got Bryant Wesco coming in from Texas.
Clemson's kind of making a living out of getting a couple of guys, or at least one out of Texas every cycle here the last few years. This is a kid that can really kind of transform that wide receiver room. I like the guys. We've talked about it before. I like the guys Clemson signed in their last class. Noble Johnson, Ronan Hannafin, Tyler Brown. I think Clemson got a ton of value in those guys. I think a couple of them were severely underrated. But Bryant Wesco brings a whole different dynamic. He's got the speed. He's got the hands. He reminds me a lot of Justin Ross coming out of high school. He is the total package. He provides an immediate influx of talent into that room. And while Tyler Grisham's kind of been in the middle of trying to reshape that thing, in my opinion, this is the kind of guy that was missing, so to speak. You want a little variety in your wide receiver room, and I think this is the kind of guy that's been missing the past couple of years. He is just the total package, elite wide receiver prospect. Maybe Clemson goes back to, being wide receiver U here after we get these guys on campus.
Well, I'm telling you, if you like this 23 class, and we've talked about it, as you mentioned, a number of times, and then 24 gets going with Bryant Wesco, and then the next guy, a top 25 wide receiver in TJ Moore.
Yeah, another guy I really like. I think he's a little, I know he's fairly highly rated. I still think he's a little underrated. A big body guy, excellent hands. Maybe not quite as fast as Wesco, but he's got plenty of speed, knows how to create separation. He is smooth, fluid, however you want to describe it. Another guy who just provides an immediate influx of talent into that wide receiver room. Pair him and Wesco together, and you have just transformed your wide receiver room overnight. And for all the grief Clemson fans have given Tyler Grisham over the past couple of years, and some of it may be warranted. Make no mistake, some of it is absolutely warranted. He's got to be smiling right now after this past couple of days and the way this thing's shaking out.
All right, Jason, we appreciate you being here. Is there anyone else that we need to look out for with a couple more camps in play and official visits over the next few weeks?
Yeah, I think Clemson set themselves up nicely with some guys this weekend. There's just going to be more that just follow through and take their visits. I think they set themselves up well with cornerback Corey and Gibson. I touched base with offensive lineman 4-star Fletcher Westfall a couple of days ago, and he told me he was just blown away. And, he was it was his first official visit. He's kind of anxious to go take the rest now and see how they measure up because he was so impressed. He said, President Clements at Clemson is the only president at any university he gets mail from. President Clements came and spoke to them as a group. He said that's highly unusual. It's just he just raved about the weekend. So I think they helped themselves with him. I think they helped themselves with safety Ricardo Jones. There are a lot of guys Clemson, made a mark with this weekend. And for me, one of the biggest things I'm going to be looking at moving forward is I've always said I thought Clemson's going to take up to 3 wide receivers in this class. These guys have been told that, according to one I talked to anyway, these guys have been told, the number's 2, and first come, first serve. I still think the number's going to get to 3. There's still they had 6 on campus over the weekend. Still got guys out there, targets out there like Mike Matthews. He's a 5-star. 4-star Alex Taylor, who was the first wide receiver offer in this class, in-state guy, Braylon Staley. So I think we somehow, some way get to 3. I don't think we get beyond that, but I think we get to 3. I still think they're going to add one more at some point. And I think they're in good position with all 3 of those guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And there is a 2025 guy who is set to announce next week, running back Gideon Davidson. He said he told me, I think it was late last week, he's down to 3 now, wouldn't disclose who those 3 schools are, but that he was going to announce on June the 12th. And this is a kid Clemson's been in on for a long time. He raves about C.J. Spiller. I think Clemson's got a very realistic shot at landing their running back very early in the recruiting cycle for 2025. That if it plays out that way, they will have done so in 2 consecutive cycles, after having struggling to find one in 2 consecutive cycles. So, here C.J. Spiller seems to be settling into that role as a recruiter for Clemson here right nicely.
11 hard commits, number 8 recruiting class in the country, according to 247 Sports. Folks love the recruiting talk, and Jason's here to provide it for us. Catch the full deal on allclemsontigers.com. Keep in mind, we've got a Clemson show that we deliver each and every Thursday night. Whether that's at 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you got to keep up with those notifications. But every Thursday night here at the Voice of College Football. Jason, appreciate you stopping by.
Always, man. My pleasure.